It's Monday. It's your girl Candy K. Lynn, and it's 6 o'clock, so it's time to pull up every Monday here on DFWIRadio.com. We talk sports, news, and hip hop. We don't talk about people, we just talk about the culture. As you see, your girl is rolling solo right now until Shaw Time Shaw is in the building. And we have a show full of sports. There's basketball talk. So until we get dialogue going, I want to tell you guys about the Los Angeles Lakers and their 9.9 part documentary series that is headed to Hulu in 2022. So I don't know. If you guys are Laker fans that are young, you know the Shaq and Kobe era. And for the newcomers, you're watching what we thought was going to be magic with LeBron and AD, but LeBron and AD have both been hurt. Now, AD did come back the other night and drop buckets against the Suns. I think he had 42. So we know with a healthy LeBron and a healthy AD, possibly for the next year and a half, maybe two, we could see that same greatness we saw with Shaq and Kobe. But until then, you got to think back to the Showtime Lakers before that. And that's what this series is going to look at. It's going to cover 4 decades of the Los Angeles Lakers basketball franchise under Jerry Buss. So Buss bought the Lakers in 1979. His daughter Jeannie Buss is now in the front office. And you will watch the Pat Riley era is what we're expected to see. Of course, we're going to hear from Magic Johnson, possibly Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Shaquille O'Neal as the Lakers go from the Showtime Lakers in that era of the 80s and their dominance, their back-to-back titles. And then after the 90s, we know they fell off. But at the end of the 90s, early 2000s, we saw a Phil Jackson, who used to be in Chicago, who had led the Bulls to 5 championships, come to LA. And then there, Shaq and Kobe were able to create their own dynasty. And then the Lakers were able to also go on and win once Shaq left the Lakers and Kobe was able to do it with his role playing teammates. So I'm very interested to see that. If you guys watched the Jordan documentary last year, the Laker documentary, I'm sure, is working to outdo the Jordan documentary because we sat for 6 nights and we actually watched all 6 parts of the Jordan documentary. So this is going to be a 9 part series on Hulu, and I can't wait to watch it. Now, Mr. Shaw is late, and he comes in being a hater, but he's a low-key Laker fan now because
I'm just saying
Anthony
that was
Davis is
about
there.
Jordan. I'm saying it was
You
all about Jordan. This one is going to span through decades of Lakerism.
Did you say Lakerism?
Lakerism.
Okay.
And we're going to
Uh,
get West. We're going to get Lakers from past.
no, we're going to get the 79 Lakers forward. We're not going that far back. We're going
that's not
Magic.
that's not the Lakers then.
Yes, no, but we're going under the Jerry Buss era. We're going
So it's a Jerry
when
documentary.
well, no, it's the Lakers through the 4 decades under. That's just like the Cowboys doing a documentary under the Jerry Jones, from 89, 88 on forward of what Jerry Jones and the Cowboys were able to produce,
So,
which I'm sure we will get,
I don't know, but I'm
which is
saying think about
separate.
it though. But think about it. Before Jerry, the Cowboys had a great coach. So it wasn't Jerry. I mean, not a great owner, but they had great before Jerry got there. So to just
But
about the
that
Cowboys.
it's not the same.
So
It's
just to
not the
talk about
same.
the Cowboys and the triplets would be, you know, a slap on the wrist to Roger Staubach, wouldn't it?
No, it wouldn't be a slap on the wrist because the Cowboys are the richest sports organization in the world, and they were not that before ownership of Jerry Jones. So you do have to break, like you tell the story of the Cowboys,
I mean,
which has been done.
the Canelo fight ain't got nothing to do with Jerry Jones. He's just a hustler.
I mean, but those are the reasons that Jerry Jones can get a Canelo fight. That we can get fights in Texas outside of fights in Vegas, in New York, is where fights normally take place.
Oh,
Right? So you do have to talk about what Jerry Buss was able to do with the Lakers, and because their franchise is worth millions as well. So the Showtime Lakers again, they were the Showtime Lakers. People were watching basketball because of the Lakers to see what Magic Johnson was going to do. The Magic Johnson to James Worthy to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar connections. The Pat Riley era, which is a totally different era from the Phil Jackson era. The Kobe Shaq. The fact that, the Lakers went after an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old because he was 17 because the draft is in July. He didn't turn 18 until August. And Kobe spent his entire career in LA. So the highs and the lows, we get a different conversation, which I think is a good thing. I think it's going to be an interesting series because Antoine Fuqua is directing it. You don't know who that is?
Antoine Fuqua?
Yes.
Nah, tell me what he did.
I know you know because you're a movie guy.
What movie he did?
He did the Muhammad Ali documentary.
Which the one with Will Smith in it?
No, the documentary that was done by LeBron Springfield Entertainment. That was like last year or the year before?
I don't think I seen that one.
Okay, so you missed out on that one. So he's done a lot of other stuff, but it's going to be together.
Now,
and again, it's the Lakers.
I believe it's going to be legit. I believe, and it's coming out 2022, so we'll get 3 years of LeBron. You know what I'm saying? So we'll get to see. It'll, hopefully they'll get some. They got to get better before LeBron. They got to get better because they are not a championship team right now. If you take LeBron James away, right? So they have to get better as a. Now I'm not gonna say an organization because they're the Lakers.
Well, yeah, it's just as a team. It's those key pieces that you need to mesh, and when your superstar is out,
we need to draft better. The Lakers need to draft better. Let's be honest. It's got to be better. The Last Dance was amazing. I loved it. Josh Crawford.
But it's a lot. But see, The Last Dance focused on Michael Jordan, and The Last Dance between that team. This is 4 decades of the Lakers, and we know, like I said, Kobe came to the Lakers in '96. Kobe's going into the Hall of Fame this year. You've got, unfortunately, the tragedy surrounding the death of Kobe. You've got a lot of pieces to tell in a 9-part series, even though they told a lot in Jordan 6. And again, I feel like there's more pieces of Jordan's life that we would love to see later. But I'm excited. Also, on just a news tip before we go into the top 25 under 25 in the NBA today, Kyrie Irving is making headlines again. Kyrie has launched a business advisory firm to help underrepresented businesses. So he's using his foundation to help sustain communities while providing education, food, water, security, as well as helping fight for social justice and equality. So,
can we put your phone on silent?
I'm about to. They texted me from the school. They don't know I don't work when I leave. Somebody don't tell them I don't take my work home. So my apologies. They're sending chats at 6:09. So I wasn't prepared for that, and I have to use my phone to update our Facebook statuses while you being nasty, Mr. Shaw.
No.
Who was late? I didn't know y'all could hear that. My headphones was in. But anyway, I was trying to talk and whatever. But top 25 NBA basketball players under the age of 25. And number 1 is they have Luka. Luka from the Dallas Mavericks. What are your thoughts, Shaw?
It's my live get ready to go, so because I know they see both. Y'all listen. Luka at number 1 at the top 25 on the 25 is perfect. Luka does everything. Luka makes the team better, right? If you look at the Mavericks right now, the Mavericks roster just doesn't have enough around Luka for them to break into that top 10, top 15 level. I mean, the top 5, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the problem right now. But Luka Doncic is everything you need him to be. He can score. He can pass. Now, let's talk. Last night I seen Luka do something a little, Luka is a crybaby. Luka has earned this image of a crybaby, but he's gaining it. Last night he smacked Colin Sexton in the groin area, right? Like, and it's happened before. It might not be a regular occurrence, but it's already been said that Luke was a crybaby, and he would. His 60. That had to be his 16, 17 ticks. He got thrown out the game.
He's
right?
one away from suspension.
Right. So I respect Luka's game, but a little. Not to say superstars don't cry. Every superstar won.
But has he gotten to that level yet to behave like that?
His ability to play basketball offensively puts him in the realm of once you can score elite. When you're an elite scorer, when you're an elite offensive talent in the NBA, that it's almost impossible for you not to be a superstar. Because the most important thing in the NBA is scoring ability. You can be the best defender in the world, don't nobody care. Right?
Oh, they do care. Because those defenders usually help win championships.
Yeah, but
Dennis Rodman is a Hall of Famer. They do care.
No. We're not.
I get what you're saying, but I'm just
Dennis
was
never breaking the cap. You can listen. You can find a smaller version of Dennis Rodman, Draymond Green. Draymond Green may not bring the same thing. That Draymond Green don't bring the same things to a game that Dennis Rodman does, right? But Draymond Green gonna be a Hall of Famer. Right.
Right. And Draymond is on championship teams. But when I think of defense of players that stood out, I think of Gary Payton. I think of Dennis Rodman. Like just even in football, like we think about Deion being a shutdown corner. Like,
but look, that's football. But Gary don't have that same impact if Gary couldn't get buckets.
Well,
in the glove don't make him a star. How many?
But yeah, we do because we talk about great defensive players. We're talking Gary Payton.
Okay, well, you name me how many defensive stars had commercials. You name me how many defensive stars had Gatorade commercials. You name me how many defensive stars had Nike deals.
Gary Payton had a Nike deal. He had a shoe.
See, GP was a bucket getter. GP was
shoe. So I'm not saying they can't get buckets. I'm just saying I feel like it's the same importance.
If you only play defense, you're not getting praised.
Dennis Rodman had a shoe.
Get out. Get out.
He did. Yeah. Not being cool, but
get out.
He had a shoe.
Dennis Rodman. Get out.
So, but before we get too far off topic, right? Because it seems like a lot of time, but we never really have a lot of time with Luka and his behavior. Would it be okay if James Harden was picking up technicals? Would it be okay if Steph Curry would the league and the media commentary, would the conversations be the same? Because I feel like we're really not saying anything. They're like, oh, Luka's getting technicals. It's really no big deal.
Nah, I'm not gonna say that because you're taking points away from your team, right?
But would the conversation be the same if it was James Harden? Or if Kevin Durant was picking up technicals all the time?
You're broad. Because when Boogie was doing this,
he's a big.
They play Boogie as the demon. You know what I'm saying? So
Draymond has been played like that.
I'm not giving Luka a pass. I'm not giving Luka a pass for getting texts. You supposed to be able to come. You supposed to be able to talk to the refs in the calm way. Yeah, you're gonna get frustrated from time to time, but they tired of you whining, right? So you've been labeled a whiner. But this is what he got to look at. Every time you start crying out, they're going to tee you up. So if you really look at it, the refs are looking at it from the standpoint like you whine too much, and it's catching up to them now. So yeah, they treating him the same way that a black athlete would. We don't want to hear you cry.
I just don't think in 3 seasons.
Well, I'm gonna say for the I'm not gonna say for the media, but the refs. The refs are like, "Hey, Luka, we gonna give you tees like we give anybody else, right?" So
they should.
I can say that. But as far as the media, they're gonna script it to how they want it to be. Number 20 is Zion Williams, superstar.
And with him being a superstar, right? We know he's been hurt. We know this has been a crazy season. For all the hype that he had in school at Duke, when you bring Mr. President, Mr. 44 out for real, when Obama shows up, President Barack Obama shows up to see you play basketball, I think the kid has a chance to be legit. I just think it's hard. LeBron James comes once in a lifetime.
You don't even need to put yourself in that category.
Well, no, and I'm not putting him in that category, right? Because LeBron, and what I'm saying with that is LeBron was in Cleveland and they were trash. But we saw LeBron consistently rise and eventually get out of Cleveland to go and develop in a different system under like a Pat Riley. That's my only question for young players like Zion and LaMelo. Like, right? That he's not in LA anymore. He's now here. He's down with the Pelicans. Like, what do you think that he's going to reach what we think he can be in the system that he's currently in?
Talking about Lonzo?
Both of them.
Because LaMelo would be 3 on the list. I feel like that's too high. I feel like LaMelo is not the third best player, 25 on 25. There's a lot of hype, but he can ball.
But he's what, 19?
Yeah.
He's gonna be rookie of the year?
Nah, he had missed time. Anthony Edwards was gonna be rookie of the year, and Anthony Edwards was like 17 on the list. Take it, Anthony Edwards is on the he was in the rare category with 45 and 42, 40 plus points, 5 plus rebounds, 5 plus 6. Anthony Edwards balled this season just because he played for Minnesota. We're not talking about it. His season was better than LaMelo's, but you know what I'm saying.
Anthony, but what about his overall impact, right? Because again, Minnesota is another place where players never really become who they can because they are a terrible organization.
Like in Charlotte, like LaMelo in Charlotte, right? It's not about you; it's about the player. If you can play, you can play. Right?
No, but I'm just saying about the development and the growth, right? Because as you said, we're not talking about him as much because he's in Minnesota. It ain't like
Charlotte develop players. If you can play, you can play, right? For instance, the Lakers supposedly develop players with Julius Randle's having his best season in New York, right? So,
but it also, and again, the coaches, right? We're also talking, and I think people don't like to look at that, but there are a lot of coaches in the NBA that are like, they got a job.
Look, if you can play, if you can play and you want to get better, you'll get better, right? So I can't say how much better LaMelo is going to be. I know Anthony Edwards was overlooked, but he can play.
Was he overlooked or he just capitalized?
I mean, when they did the list, there was a 20. Like LaMelo was 3rd on the list. He was over.
I see LaMelo at third over Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, De'Aaron Fox.
Stop. You don't even got to go to D Fox. Jason Tatum and Donovan Mitchell. How does he go over them? Jason Tatum had been to back-to-back NBA finals, right?
I think we're looking at this season, right? Because to get a LaMelo on
No. It's a top 25 under 25. So that means everything you've done in the league while being under 25. LaMelo hadn't done nothing yet. He had made an All-Star game. We talking about Donovan Mitchell.
But we're looking at what this season. So like what he's done as a rookie.
Top 25.
But that's what I'm saying.
So he got one
season.
His one rookie season ain't better
numbers.
His one rookie season not better than Jason Tatum last year. His one rookie season not better than Donovan Mitchell last year. So he can't be the third best on the top 25 under 25. There's no way.
And that's why I don't like these lists, right?
Right.
I don't like these lists.
I mean, if you look at the list.
Because what are we I always want to know, like when we talk about in hip hop, who's the greatest rap, like what are we using as metrics? If we were using a consistent metric system, I would say
Luka been to 3 All-Star games.
Okay.
Right. Zion went to his first All-Star game this year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Donovan Mitchell, he going to the All-Star as long as he healthy. Jason Tatum going to the All-Star as long as he healthy. De'Aaron Fox has never made an All-Star game, right? So, but he's fifth. But his numbers have went up every season.
But that's not fair, right? Right? When we're talking 25 under 25, the All-Star game cannot be the metrics because you still have people. But I'm just saying, you have people like Chris Paul that still, like these dudes is 40. LeBron is 40. Like these dudes is old at this point, and they still producing at a high level. So to judge these 25-year-olds, and that's what I said, what are the metrics? All-Star game can't be it.
I'm just giving you one.
Because Kyrie still plays basketball. Steph still plays.
I'm saying All-Star game, numbers, overall impact on the game. There's a lot of things going to how good is the team if you're not there, right? So LaMelo, they would still win even though he wasn't there. I'm not knocking LaMelo. I'm just saying when you look at this list, there are players who've been in the league that have done more, improving more. He's higher on this list than Bam. He's higher on this list than Devin Booker. Right? We talking about somebody guaranteed 25 points when he come outside. All right? So
And that's what I said. I would have to look at the criteria, right? Are we going so many guards, so many bigs? I never know.
There's only one big on the. But Zion and Bam are the only top 10 bigs on the list, and most of them are guards.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. What are we comparing them to? Are we, because a lot of the comparison, like there was on Bleacher Report, there was a side-by-side comparison of Trae Young and Luka. Like, what are we comparing? Are we comparing to who gets buckets? Are we comparing to what it looks like? Are we comparing it to who do the kids want to be like? I just don't know what the metrics are when we talk, because we know Donovan Mitchell has been impactful for his team.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we've seen them in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs. We know Jason Tatum is leading in Boston. We know De'Aaron Fox is Sacramento. Like, we know Ben Simmons is a big name in Philly.
He's not that good.
I think there are some things he needs to work on.
But you're year 4 or 5, and you still ain't took 100 threes in the season. You're not getting no better. That you are who you are.
I think his shooting needs some improvement and work still. Being able to create his shot off the dribble, there are some things. And then as Devin Booker, like when we say guards and they are making a surge there in Phoenix, like I just don't know what we're basing the criteria on.
I mean, but if you look at the list, and they just saying top 25, under 25, and they're top 10 minus LaMelo, I respect it. I mean, I feel like Ben Simmons is top 10 for his overall playmaking ability, but you 6'8" and you can't get 20, I just feel some type of way. This is score. The NBA, you playing great defense is great, but getting a bucket is the most important thing in the NBA. The most important thing is not can you guard in late game situation, is can I put the ball in your hands and can you go get a bucket? Right? And I look at this list, everybody on this list, you put the ball in their hand and say, go give me a game-winning bucket. They can do it, except for Ben Simmons. On the top 10, LaMelo, I believe he can do it.
And on his team, Ben Simmons is not going to have the ball.
What does that say?
I mean, and I'm probably getting the ball to Embiid. Like, that's probably where I'm going. To
you say you play on your team. Okay, so Bam on this list, right? So you got the option on his team, him or Jimmy Butler. De'Aaron Fox, you can go him or Harrison Barnes, right?
Right.
Zion, him or Bi or Lonzo.
Or LaMelo.
Why you keep
or Lonzo.
It's Lonzo. Lonzo. Yeah.
Lonzo, LaMelo, LeVar. Yeah, but it is. And Lonzo has actually scored more 3-pointers than a lot of the people on this list this year. So he's quietly made improvements with shooting the ball, because I was like terrified when he first came in the league with that very ugly shot. But he has improved. So that's why
was high. That's why I respect LeVar. Their IQ all of them, even the middle brother, but they can literally, the ball can bounce off the rim, they can touch it with their fingertips and throw that mother sucker full court pass. And you know how most people can't throw full court pass no more? They can. And I respect that about their game. Like Lonzo got something. The NBA is, oh, well, if you don't get 25 today, or if you don't average this number, then you're a bust. This man, for his career, averages over 7+ assists, 7+ rebounds. How are you a bust if you average over 7 anything and it's not points, right?
Here's the thing. That's why I keep saying LaMelo, right? They want to hate the Ball brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. Their dad invested in his sons. He believed in his sons. He spoke life and vision into his sons, and he did that. No one else can take credit for his sons moving to that next level but him. And that's what people are mad about. So overall for this list, there's a lot of young talent in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of young talent. I'm probably never going to be a Luka fan. It's probably my biasness. Does he have game? He does. But I don't respect whiners. And I don't think that you've done enough to earn, like, you bring star power for the Mavericks.
Hey, Josh, I just feel like with De'Aaron Fox on this list, it's hard to say that about LaMelo because D Fox different. He Westbrook fans. But go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay. I do feel like he's gonna be one of the best in the game if he stays healthy, and that's the biggest thing. Same thing with Zion. I feel like with this list, we're going to talk. These are going to be people that we're going to talk about 20 years from now when we talk about some of the NBA's best of the best.
Kentucky had on the top 10.
I knew that's where you were going next.
I'm just saying. D Fox, Bam, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, one of the most slept on players in the NBA. You don't need to talk about it. And then, D Book. So, again, like that, the list is compiled, and then it could have probably been more Kentucky players on the under 25. Just they're not talking about them yet, right? So, again, the list looks like what you want the NBA to look. It's not the mid 2000s. It's not what you wanted the NBA to look like. We grew through a period of bad basketball, right? Because a lot of people I'm gonna say from drafted from 2000 to 2010, a lot of those players we will not remember because that was the era of we're gonna go pro straight out of high school. You're not LeBron. You only had a few to survive. Tyson Chandler.
Well, first of all, Kobe did it. Kevin Garnett did it. And do you want to? And since you brought that up, do you want to revisit no. Do you want to revisit that Kevin Garnett DeMarcus Cousins conversation now?
Sure. Boogie numbers still in 9 years look way better than KG and averaged 20 points, and he was like 5 years in.
Will he have records when he's done?
What record KG hold? KG not top 10 in scoring, top 10 in blocks. What KG top 10 in?
Let me Google it for you.
Because
his name is in some records. Like, you're a hater because he better. And when I get my shirt with my haul, because mine are going into the hall and shit together.
Boogie's still balling, and they behave.
We're not, but who's going to talk about DeMarcus Cousins in the same breath that they talk about a Kevin Garnett, a Tim Duncan? We're not having the same conversation, Mr. Shaw or Dirk. And I know that's your guy.
Four-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. Averaged 20 and 10 for a career. What KG average?
Mr. Shaw, since you want to make me Google these numbers.
Lowest points he averaged was his first year. It was 14. Now, let me take that back. He averaged 9 this year because he,
But overall, what impact
KG,
what impact is he going to leave on the game?
What impact did KG have? He wouldn't play with a souped up
team.
You
are a hater.
If a healthy Boogie...
Kevin Garnett came into the league when he was 18 years old.
Played with John Wall and Devin Booker, he probably have a championship too.
He was on the Lakers last year, but he got hurt.
He was hurt.
They sent him on home.
So he got a ring.
Kevin Garnett is a 15-time NBA All-Star, NBA champion, NBA most valuable player, 4-time All-NBA first team, 3-time NBA All-Second Team, 2-time All-NBA Third Team, Defensive Player of the Year, 9-time NBA All-Defensive First Team, 3 times NBA All-Defensive Second Team, 4-time NBA Rebound Champion, NBA All-Rookie Second Team. Do we need to keep going?
What's his numbers? Talk to me about his numbers.
Do we need to keep? He had 26,000 points in his career. Where Boogie?
What he averaged? What was his career averages?
17.8, 10 rebounds, 3 assists.
17. So Boogie averaged 20.5, 10.6, 3.2.
Where are his career numbers in scoring right now?
In 600 games? Now, let me go look. Let me tell you.
Because I'm still rolling with KG.
I'm just telling you overall players. We talk about Berta. KG got
Kevin Garnett is a Hall of Famer. Boogie is not going to be a Hall of Famer.
Because of injuries, yeah. But now, listen. If Boogie stay healthy, can play 4-5 more years. His numbers are already better than KG right now.
Mr. Shaw, the impact of the game. What impact?
Ken Kaylin, we've had to get ready to wrap it up.
I know it's time to go to break. You wanna argue with me, and I'm just still telling you I'm still holding where I was holding. But guys, it is time for us to go to break, It is your girl, Candy K. Lynn.
And your boy, Shawtown Shaw.
And we'll be back right after this break.